Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 47 of the Local to Global, here with the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. Now, of course, the previous episode was a pretty historical episode. We had our first events that were live on pay-per-view. Of course, we now actually have two pay-per-view broadcasters. We've got Canada One Choice in, obviously, Canada, and then we also have U-Demand with medium coverage as well, but this one is for the US. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. We're still with OnDem for our TV show, Coalition Wrestling. And as you can see, this was sort of the big reason why I wanted to get onto pay-per-view. As you can see, we got pretty much an additional sort of 800,000, just below 800,000. And then, of course, we also got more merchandise as well. With our merchandise increasing a level from 2 episodes ago, I believe. So yeah, the finances, 1.1 million in a month with only one pay-per-view. Now, if we have our sort of Wrestle War Warzone shows, we could make a fair, sort of chunk of money going into that. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff going on in this episode, but first of all, I just wanted to show you this. Now, if we go down here, we have Tcw King of Kings. As you can see, not an absolutely impressive show from an overall show rating. Standard, I guess. But when you look down here, this is where it starts to get a little more interesting. Now, obviously, we've signed Logan Wolfsbane. We signed him 2 episodes ago, I believe. Back in episode 45. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 45. But as you can see, he was involved in this King of Kings tournament. And as you can see in the first round, he got a 90 rated match defeating Titan, which is very impressive. As you can see, a 93 in-ring performance there as well. If we're getting sort of those types of in-ring performances out of him, I mean, the sky's kind of the limit, really. We go a little bit further down. We've got Logan actually losing, but this time to the tournament winner, Killer Shark, in another 90 rated match. As you can see, a little bit lower on the in-ring performance there, only getting an 88. But still pretty good. Still pretty good. And of course, another 90 rated match as well. The final was actually Killer Shark defeating Amazing Firefly, which I thought was interesting because it's obviously David versus Goliath. And yeah, I mean, Amazing Firefly, he's really good, but it's obviously a high flyer, so doesn't exactly, I don't know, I guess kind of fit the mold for TCW, really. I don't really feel like TCW has that many high flyers, if any, to be honest. I feel like it's more brawling, sort of technical-based wrestling, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that, because obviously Logan, I'm assuming his contract will start probably this episode. Let's see. Yeah, 6 days. So I'm assuming that'll be after our first show here because it's in 2 days, obviously. So let's go forward to that. I want to talk about a few things. Now, obviously, our end of year pay-per-view or season finale pay-per-view is this month. And I think what we're going to do, we've obviously had these storylines. Some of them have been running for sort of 3 months. Well, this will be the 3rd month for some of them. And then other storylines, this will be the 2nd month, which I think is, it's a pretty good amount of time for a storyline. And I think a few of them are going to be ending at this pay-per-view. So that's obviously next episode, but I'm going to continue to build towards some big matches. John Greed and Giant Brody. We've also got Maddie Faith taking on Matt Hocking as well. Of course, that whole storyline with Hocking potentially joining. Interesting, we've got Adrian Garcia, who does have 80 color commentary, which is very interesting. He's also never mind, he's the CWA booker. So we are probably not going to be able to sign him, I would assume. Actually, I wonder if we did sign him, if he would actually come to us. This is the guy actually, I was signing on the Val Pro series. He's also got 80 announcing. Interesting. Huh. Anyway, we've got a lot of offers here for Aaron Andrews. Interesting that some of these other companies can go in for him, but we can't. Obviously, he's got 99 popularity across all the US and most of Canada as well. But as you can see, his popularity in all those other regions is really low, which means, as you can see, WLW in Japan, BCG, Pride Glory, they can all offer him, even Burning Hammer, can offer him contracts, but we ourselves cannot, because his fame, essentially, popularity in our region is much too high. Yeah, what I think I want to do here, let me take a quick look at things before we advance or get into the show. What I want to do, just double check that there's no better color commentators around. Let's go 75 for color commentary. I would prefer if they could work in Canada. So, as you can see, Garcia is literally the only one. I almost want to sign him, or at least, I guess we may as well try. We should try. I feel like. Okay, so, I mean, I guess we'll try and bump that up. But I feel like it's just... Okay. Alright, so we literally can't do it. Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's pretty understandable. Anyway, let me just double check. I guess anyone outside? Anyone that can, I guess, not work in Canada? You got Devil Karube, I guess. But obviously, she can't speak English, which is unfortunate. He's got 93 color, though. He's also loyal to 5-star. So it's not exactly going to work either. I mean, MC Motormouth, 77. But he's a heavy drug user, heavy smoker, often in trouble. And then Rebecca Ritchie, who is a little bit worse. I have to say, there's not a lot of good options there either. Let's have a quick look at announcing. So obviously we've got Mitch Nace, but he is the owner of PSW. I mean, realistically, he would be the best signing, but I guess we just can't really get him, though. We can't get him on an exclusive written contract. We could go for Van der Broek. Broek? Yeah, I don't know. He's Dutch. He's really good. Really, really good. And he does have 80 announcing. He's also only 24, so... I mean, there is potential for him to actually get better. So what I think we'll do, we may as well just sign him, to be honest. If he's open to working in Canada. Okay, so there we go. He is active now, so... We can get him on a contract. So I think what we'll do, we'll just get him in. I mean, at the worst, he's going to be our best announcer. What we can do is we can keep the announcer and the color commentator that we have now, but obviously we will kind of search for better. So 18,600. Alrighty, there we go. Apparently there was a rival offer there. Just a $400 deal, handshake deal. Yeah, Mitch Nace, it's a weird one. I mean, part of me kind of wants to just buy PSW if we could, but I think they're actually pretty well off at the moment. Anyway, and I guess we'll keep our current announcers, so Lee Bambino will stay. But what we'll do is we'll shift everybody over, and we'll get Van Broek in at number 1 with Bambino second, and then obviously Grace Harper can be our third member of the booth on color commentary. And Jurien will probably... Well, he'll be pretty good for quite a while. At least until we, I guess, maybe find someone, or if, you know, Nace does become available. Anyway, let's get into this first show. Looking forward to booking this last month of the year. I feel like it's always a good time. Alright, so what incident? We've got incident with Angry Gilmore. And he comes to me backstage and says that he thinks Maddie Faith has a bright future and he'd be willing to put him over in order to take him. Offer is good for 2 matches and will expire in 2 months. That's going to work. That's going to work for me. That's going to really, really propel Maddie Faith into the, essentially into the next sort of, I guess, tier of pushers we have in the company. Like, I always talk about main eventers, upper mid-carders. At the moment, I would say he's pretty much an upper mid-carder, and especially after this feud, I feel like he'll be pretty well established. But, I mean, if we actually manage to get him over twice against Angry Gilmore, dude's probably going to be a main eventer. So, yeah. Anyway, the tag team storyline we're going to run with for this month is the rematch between Young and Wasted and, of course, the Moneymakers. Of course, this is the sort of basic rematch clause type match. And then, of course, we've also got a interesting main event, which is going to be Aldous Blackfriar taking on Mobstar. So what I think I might do is have Mobstar take on Mutant in the main event. Now, of course, a little bit risky. Purely for the fact that Mutant doesn't have the best popularity in the world. So it'll be, I don't know, it'll probably be touch and go a little bit, I would say. I think that's fine. I think it should do okay. I mean, at least an 80 plus, I'm kind of happy with at this point. I don't really want to worry about it too much. I'm then going to have another match. And we're going to have the crew. So, Kavanaugh, Papa Swole, and Public Enemy. And they are going to take on Forces of Darkness. Everybody that is left. So that is, of course, Aldous, Zombie Boy, and Original Sinner. And I know a lot of you guys have been commenting recently that, you know, the additions of Blackfriar and Mutant has essentially put, well, it's basically made Forces of Darkness go from a jobber stable in the company to essentially a main event stable for most of the members, I would say. Obviously, Mutant, probably an upper mid-carder, but definitely Blackfriar main event talent. And I'm pretty certain a few of you guys were quite happy in the comments with Blackfriar actually winning our One Ring to Rule Them All tournament. As was I. That's why I booked it. Anyway, going to need to script this one, obviously. We'll chuck Stones on there as well. Gilmore to Road Agent. Actually, we'll make this our storytelling match. I mean, Kavanaugh's extremely unhappy, but I mean, he is going to be taking the loss in this match. There we go there. And that loss for the crew is essentially going to push them more towards the breaking point as well. All right, what else are we going to do? I feel like we've almost gone through everybody in regards to Faith No More and Matt Hocking. So I think what we might do is do a tag team match. And let's have Maddie Faith team up with Charlie Corner to take on Hocking. And I feel like I want to give Hocking a pretty decent tag team partner. So maybe Princeton Price, because I don't really have anything for Princeton at the moment. So I think that's actually a pretty good way to get him involved in a match. Obviously, Charlie Corner can take our pinfall loss there as well. I think it does need to be scripted due to Charlie's involvement. Getting close, but, you know, still a little bit away from actually becoming competent, you know, with his psychology. But that is a good match as well. I almost feel like that one should probably be the storytelling match. All right, what else? I think what I want to do, let's have Brody take on probably Jackpot. And again, this match, this will be interesting because it's going to be a tainted victory. I'm pretty sure we can actually call this one as well. So it's going to be tainted and obviously outside interference finish with John Greed. Yep, so that'll be our finish. I like that. I like that a lot. Again, just continuing the storyline. More sort of involvement there. And yeah, another nice victory, even though it is tainted for Jackpot Jordan. Then finally, I think we'll go for a Young and Wasted match. I want to try and get their momentum back a little bit. So once again, we'll go with the Northern Lights. Basically, we're just trying to use them as much on TV as possible in order to try and at least establish, you know, a little bit of popularity, like into the 20s. And then we can probably try and book them a little bit better going from there. Yeah, so it needs to be scripted, of course. Young and Wasted. I think that actually looks pretty good for a show. Let's go for a Mobstar angle. So that'll go pre-main event. I think we'll go... Yeah, so let's go with an Aldous Blackfriar angle after. Yes, Mutant can be next to him. Not rated on anything because if you remember, we didn't angle like that recently, but it kind of fell short because we had Mutant rated on Menace, and it did say in that angle that he kind of underperformed. So I think we'll finish off with that. It'll be Aldous coming out, consoling his disciple of darkness. That's what I'm going to call the tag team. So Aldous and Mutant, they're going to be the disciples of darkness. Kind of fitting, since they are the forces of darkness, all four of them. And yeah, of course, Mutant is also going to be in a tag team with Original Sinner, but that'll be a little bit later down the line, once this main storyline's finished and we're pretty much set to go. I think I want to kick off the show with a Davis. Actually, let's go like this. Let's go Alexander Robinson and Davis, and this will be a sit-down interview. Let's write this in. Sit-down interview with Davis Wayne Newton. Yeah, I mean, I'll explain it once we get to it. That'll kick off the show. Then I think we'll go into a Maddie Faith angle. I guess Charlie can be in the angle as well. Doesn't really matter. We'll give him a little bit of success as well. And we'll advance that storyline as well. There we go. I'll kind of discuss what that angle is going to be about. It's kind of similar to what's been happening recently. Up next, I want to have John Greed cutting a backstage promo onto Giant Brody. All right, so let me write this one out as well. John Greed with a backstage promo on Giant Brody. Obviously simple and effective, but obviously Brody's also off screen because he's about to go out for his match. So I feel like it does make sense. And yeah, that should be pretty good. I mean, we can fit one more 6-minute angle, but honestly, I don't think we really need to. I mean, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's go with another angle. I kind of want to do an angle between Public Enemy and Papa Swole. So let's do that. Let's try and do that anyway. feel like it could be good. And we'll give him some success there as well. Just so we are they not there? I think they're in that one, aren't they? Yeah. Alright, so I'll explain this one as well, but the gist of it is they're going to be, well, both Papa Swole and Public Enemy are going to be talking about, you know, their recent failures, everything that's sort of going on, and that'll, of course, lead into the match. Alright, let's book a couple of quick tag team matches on the pre-show. Go the Golden Goats to take on... Let's go with Jack Jackson and Zach Powerson. Obviously, don't really want Jack Jackson losing, but at the same time, it's Davis, so it's okay. It's okay. So pre-show number 1, and then we'll do another cheeky little tag as well. And let's have Diaz and Goldstein teaming up to take on maybe a Sono and I guess Willie LaRue. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Never mind, we won't do that. We'll go Jack Pride instead of Willie. Some pretty good pre-show matches there, actually. I'm semi-impressed. They should actually rate pretty well. Okay. That looks good. Let's run the show. As you can see, I knew that this one was going to be good. I think the next one might actually be better. We get a 74 rated pre-show match where we have Ozzy Goldstein and James Diaz defeating Yuta Usono and Primetime Jack Pride in 11:41 when James Diaz pinned Primetime Jack Pride with a thunderous powerbomb. Obviously, Goldstein head and shoulders above everybody else, and then we had Jack Pride being the weak link still. Interesting. Anyway, next pre-show actually beats that one with a 75, so 2 pretty solid matches there. And, I mean, they were kind of just thrown together as well. Anyway, we have the Golden Goats defeating Jack Jackson and Zach Powerson in 12:26 when Davis Wayne Newton pinned Jack Jackson with a fisherman suplex. Obviously, Davis head and shoulders in this one. So, yeah. Pretty solid. I mean, the 40s for Zach is not terrible, but it needs to be better. It needs to be better. Anyway, we then open the show with not a great angle. I mean, Robinson being involved kind of tanked it a little bit. We should have really almost expected that, to be honest. We get a 71 for our sit-down interview with Davis Wayne Newton, the GOAT himself. Although he hasn't been very GOAT-like recently, and that's kind of what the interview's based around. Let's say Alexander, interviews him and asks some pretty serious questions. Davis, how do you feel about losing your unified world title after such a sort of convincing run? Those types of comments, losing the rematch. And you can visibly tell that Davis is getting frustrated, getting almost a little bit fired up in his responses as well. And he basically says that, he might have lost a rematch as well. But 2024 is going to be the GOAT's year, and Davis Wayne Newton is going to come back better than ever, and he's going to reclaim what is rightfully his, being the Unified World Championship. I mean, obviously it should have been better. As you can see, Robinson struggled and underperformed, so a couple of penalties there. Obviously, Davis usually Davis is not great without a script, but he performed well. Anyway, we then have our opening contest, which gets a 69 rating. We have Young and Wasted defeating the Northern Lights in 12:10 when Taylor Norton pinned Riddick Jordan with a tumbleweed splash. Just a really good tag team match. And again, I mean, the Northern Lights, they don't really have any popularity, but they are talented. And Young and Wasted, as you can see, obviously the standouts in this one, but I would say Northern Lights are definitely, holding their own, especially on TV. I think I want to book them to be a little bit stronger going forward as well. All right, we then go straight into an 82 rated promo from Maddie Faith Of course, he's being accompanied by Charlie Corner. And Matty Faith, once again, still issuing an open invitation for Matt Hocking to join Faith No More. And he says, you know, I have nothing against you, Matt. I just want you to join the stable, fall under my leadership, and great things will happen. Not exactly alluding to the fact that great things will happen for Hocking, or just, you know, great things will happen for the leader of the stable. He doesn't say that, but that's kind of what he's implying. They then go into tag team action against each other, getting a 77, which is very high, to be fair. Very high. And we have a bit of an upset. Matt Hocking and Princeton Price defeating the on fire Matty Faith, of course, and Charlie Corner alongside him in 12-13. When Princeton Price submitted Charlie Corner, obviously Charlie, the obvious weak link in this match. Matty Faith with a 74, got Princeton with a 70 there, so that's up a little bit. Obviously, he was runner-up in the One Ring to Rule Them All tournament, so, you know, he had a good tournament, losing to Aldous. It definitely helped his popularity out as well. All right, we then go into an 86 rated angle. I think Brody was supposed to be off screen, but I messed that up. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, John Greed cutting a backstage promo on Giant Brody, who is about to go out for his match. Brody can't really. Let's just pretend Brody is maybe in the camera shot towards the end of the promo. But Brody can't do anything because he's literally, his entrance music starts playing. Let's pretend that's what it is. So his entrance music at the end of John Greed's promo starts to play, and of course he has to go out for his match, which will be against Jackpot. Very solid though from John Greed. Very solid indeed, enjoying the freedom to go off script there as well. All right, we go into another really, really good match. We get another 77, this time for our singles match. And we have another bit of an upset. We got Jackpot Jordan defeating Giant Brody in 12-21 by pinfall with a cash-in following interference from John Greed. And as you can see, Brody and Jordan have pretty good chemistry and it lifted the match. So, got some positive chemistry there. Could be a good sort of match we go back to in the near future. Definitely pay-per-view quality worthy, I would say. All right, we then go into a bit of a lower angle. We get a 58, but again, these guys, they're only mid-carders at this point, especially Enemy. Public Enemy might even be like a lower mid-carder at this point. But we have the Crew, and they're shown backstage before their match. They're in their locker room. Kavanaugh is not in there, but obviously the cameras are rolling. And Papa Swole kind of alludes to the fact that Kavanaugh's kind of been the weak link, which is surprising because, you know, he was so dominant, came in like a house on fire, really, you know, was doing quite well. But something sort of snapped. It was when, you know, Papa Swole was asked to essentially throw the match for our Rumble match at Warzone. Yeah, and since then, everything has sort of changed, and Papa Swole has been getting pretty close with Mobstar. Kind of alludes to the fact that Mobstar essentially has his back more than Kavanaugh does at this point. Public Enemy still a little bit on the fence, you know, doesn't exactly have any type of connection with Mobstar, and still kind of is, let's say, like a happy troop. Not a happy troop, but maybe an obedient troop behind Mighty Kavanaugh. Of course, that leads into their 6-man tag, getting a 58 rating there as well. We had Forces of Darkness defeating the Crew in 11:43, and Aldous Blackfriar submitted Mighty Kavanaugh with a Gloomweaver clutch, and we had Aldous head and shoulders above everybody else, despite actually being off his game. So fair play to him. He also shone in the match, despite being off his game. Only got a 74, so obviously that can go up a little bit higher if he's actually, you know, turning up and doing what he needs to do. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not a terrible match, but it's nothing too special either. We do have Zombie Boy, Sinner, and Public Enemy in there as well, who are all, well, Sinner's terrible. The other two, they're okay. Anyway, kind of just it's a bit of a throwaway match, more just to give I guess, more of a chance to tell a story with the crew and obviously get a nice victory there for Forces of Darkness. All right, we then go into an 87 rated angle. Mobstar doing a masterful job improvising interactions with the crowd, as you would expect at this point. Our unified world champion. I guess essentially he's a heel, but he knows how to talk. And I guess in this sort of scenario, he might be acting a little bit more like a tweener. A little bit more babyface tendencies. You know, he was the clear sort of heel going against Davis. Because obviously, Davis is a heel as well, but Davis is much respected and much loved by the crowd, despite being a heel as well. So obviously, he sort of had more of the face role in that sort of storyline, whereas Mobstar has slightly shifted now. Obviously, Blackfriar, the whole Forces of Darkness cult, is essentially seen as the heel in this sort of scenario. And the main event, it does exactly what it needed to do. I said I wanted an 80 rated main event here, with Mobstar defeating Mutant in 1948 by pinfall with a flattener DDT. So good stuff. Unfortunately, Mobstar was off his game as well. So both of our sort of main event talents in our storyline for the world title, both off their game tonight. And as we know, Mobstar can do a little bit better than an 82 in-ring. So yeah, I mean, it's still a good match, but it could have actually been higher. So that's a positive sign. Obviously, a bit of a negative seeing both them off their games, but overall, I think it's pretty good. Positive signs. As you can see, literally the only penalty was for Mobstar's inconsistency. So I find that pretty interesting as well. Anyway, we've got one more angle left. And we get a solid 87 rated angle to finish off the show. As you can see, Aldous Blackfriar clearly enjoying having the freedom to go off script. And basically, he kind of says, or he alludes to the fact that his time is now. You know, darkness will reign supreme. And a darkness has fallen over the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. And he says once he gets his hands on the belt, there will be nothing anyone can do to save the Coalition. All right, finish the show. Get an overall show rating of 81, so it's not terrible. But once again, we're getting these popularity caps due to the limited number of viewers, which I feel like is pretty bad. And I feel like, well, I don't really know. I should probably do a bit of research. If any of you guys know any clear ways of getting more viewers in these regions, please let me know. I'm thinking it has more to do with, I guess, our popularity in those regions. Obviously, the number of people in those regions. And then also, I guess, our coverage, the size of our coverage. Part of me kind of wants to maybe start our own network. I know I kind of talked about that. I was more alluding to the fact when we got our pay-per-view deal of us actually getting our own broadcaster in the US, but now we essentially don't really need to do that. Although we kind of do, because we're getting these sort of restrictions for specific regions. So I'm assuming broadcaster would probably be the best option. But I guess we'll have to sort of wait and see. Anyway, another thing we could use Vanderbroek for is the interview angles. As you can see, his entertainment skills are pretty impressive. And we can always just take him off. Essentially take him off announcing duty for a specific interview angle. Similar to like a Tony Schiavone or a JR. Even a Michael Cole, if you will. And have him do those interview angles. And I think it would be a lot better having him do it than having Alexander Robinson, of course, my avatar in the game. Anyway, who's Anthony Trask? Oh, that's the US pro guy. See, I was thinking about signing this guy as well. He's got really good entertainment stats, but he is selfish. Kind of the only downside, and again, I was talking about it, but our roster is quite big. He's got popularity, though, and he's only 28. I don't know. Looks like TCW are going in for him. I think that they're the only ones that are actually going in for him. So, I mean, we'll let him go. I think if you look at it this way, we got Logan Wolfsbane from TCW, so they're probably just trying to replace him. Viewing figures 480,000, so I think that's got to be up a bit. I think that's up about 10,000 or so, from what I remember. Anyway, check out CWA. They get a 90 rated show. A few 90 plus rated matches, of course. Both women's matches getting solid ratings. Got 95 there for Brooke and Deborah Young. And then we've got a 93 there for Amber Allen and Lauren Easter. And of course, the mob there as well, doing good things. Weird to have a cage match. I mean, you'd think the cage match would be the main event. But they put on this, I guess, average sort of television title match. Pretty funny. Anyway, I'm not complaining. Definitely hurt their overall show rating a bit. Anyway, looking at the popularity, I think we are exactly the same. 32, 38, 25. Actually, Saskatchewan went up to 45 from 44 from that show. So that's positive. Positive. I'm assuming that Ontario is now the region that is capped. I really hope it's that region. Could be Quebec, could be Manitoba. Let's actually take a quick look at some things. All right, so Manitoba has only 60% potential fan base. That's actually pretty low. I mean, Saskatchewan's actually lower, but obviously, due to that, we have, of course, already lower popularity. Maritimes is dreadful, hence the slow growth there as well. Quebec's pretty good. What about British Columbia? Yeah, it's 65. It's big. It's not terrible. And then we got 70% there for Alberta as well, which is pretty good as well. So yeah, I'm hoping hopefully the Maritimes hasn't slowed down, or British Columbia for that fact, because that wouldn't be great. Would not be great at all. I mean, maybe we should actually think about running our shows in maybe Quebec. Let me actually take a quick look at that. I know you probably don't want to see this in too much detail, but let me check Ontario. So our spillover is Quebec and Manitoba. So I'm guessing Quebec is Ontario, but it is the Maritimes as well. And of course, the Maritimes, I think, is our lowest, correct? No, British Columbia. All right, so we probably want to, I guess, run shows that have a decent spillover for British Columbia, which would be Alberta, which is, of course, the home region for CWA. So yeah, I mean, just looking through. It's all very interesting. Still not sure exactly what to do, if I'm being honest. I mean, we could start even maybe running shows in the US. As you can see, Tri-State's up there pretty good. We're up at 53 popularity. But of course, the Tri-State has the best fan base in the US as well. Hence why the growth is so good there. Anyway, let's advance to the next show. And of course, we will have the debut of Logan Wolfsbane. Not too sure what I want to do with Logan, actually. I think I'll have him debut against Doc Hammond for this first show. But I'm not really sure what I want to do for the pay-per-view. I feel like I mean, Princeton Price would be an okay option. Angry Gilmore, perhaps. But again, that'd only be a 10-minute match. James Diaz, potentially. Have I think they're cousins, aren't they? Or is... Pretty sure they're cousins. Or maybe Logan's his nephew. Uncle, I guess. I think it's his cousin. I think they are cousins. I can double check when we go to the roster page, but that might be a decent way to I guess, end the year and for a pay-per-view debut. And I'm assuming that would actually boost up Diaz, probably because of the match quality, and obviously taking on someone of the actual quality of Logan Wolfsbane is going to potentially help out Diaz's psychology as well. All right, what do we got here? All right, Jurian Vanderbroek. I'm going to go with Vanderbroek. Like I said, my pronunciation, probably not the best, especially when it comes to sort of Dutch names. And there we go. Logan Wolfsbane joins CWC. Aaron Andrews going to US Pro. Interesting. I mean, they've got a real high quality actual wrestler for US Pro now. Obviously, they've already got the overness, but... Ooh, interesting. ACPW lowering their live event experience. And L-Ring offering Julian Watson, of course, Maverick, a contract there. Let's take a quick look at ACPW. I mean, it looks like they're kind of struggling. Only $200,000 in the bank. I mean, if we get the chance to purchase them, I would probably do that in a heartbeat. Getting the 74 pop in Quebec, and the 46 there in Manitoba. I mean, you get to absorb their popularity, so that'd be decent. Of course, you get to sign their workers, so we would get Americana Junior. And I guess we could also essentially use them as a developmental as well, which would be pretty cool. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. Anyway, let's advance back to the next show. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to Logan's debut. Again, I'm not really too sure how I feel about signing women on this series. I would love to have a women's division, but I just feel like it does conflict with Val Pro. I'm not sure if Val Pro is going to be running for too much longer. I like the series. It's very easy to record. But at this point, it's kind of been getting about half the views compared to local to global. So, yeah, I'm just not sure. Just not sure. Anyway, we do have Frantic Ali here being signed to an exclusive contract by IPW. So that's an interesting one. Obviously bad for GSW. Also their, I think, US champion. We got Acid 2. Another really talented worker as well. I'm not sure if I want him though. Have a look at. I want to have a look at him in Logan's matches. I haven't had any matches. Wow, they haven't had any matches this whole year. They did face each other last year for an 82. Not so impressive though. I think we'll take a miss on him as well. Like I said, we're kind of waiting for Casey Glenn. Let's go and take a look at Casey. Shouldn't be too long before his contract's running out as well. 1 year, 1 month. I feel like it was already like 1 year, 3 months, like a long time ago. No, I mean, he's only signed the one extension deal, February 2021. But that's how good he is. 99 star quality, 100 basics, 85 aerial, 90 flashiness. Absolute beast. Not very good on the microphone, but, I mean, realistically, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. Anyway, let's book this show. Ooh, actually, you know what we could do? Davis versus Logan. What a match. That might beat the main event. I'm thinking about it now, and it kind of... It almost feels that little bit more important to do that match for our, pay-per-view. Of course, we're going into arguably the biggest pay-per-view being Final Chapter. And I kind of want to, like, blow it out with a... I mean, that's a real big match. I mean, that could, like I said, that could literally be our main event. I don't know. Anyway, let's book this show's main event first of all. I think we'll go for... I mean, all this is up to 80 popularity now as well. So we could literally just put him in the main event. I mean, the question is, who do we actually put him against is the sort of issue. I mean, we could maybe go Zeus for 16 minutes. Goldstein, potentially, as well. Have a bit of a tournament. Let's do that. Let's do a tournament rematch. I mean, the match itself at the pay-per-view last month was extremely good. I think we'll make this one tainted with Mutant getting involved. Actually, will we? I think I'll actually just go decisive, because I think in this one, Mutant already got involved, which was the reasoning behind it. So we'll do that. Let's also book a quick angle here for Goldstein. And we'll go Aldous. I'll actually put him off screen this time, so it'll actually work. And that'll be Aussie alluding to what happened at the tournament itself. Up next, I think I want to have... Let's have Mobstar team up with Papa Swole. And they can actually take on... Let's add them as a tag team. So let me go back here. Now I need to spell disciples properly. So what I'm going to do, make sure I spell it correct. Do a quick little spell check. Alright, there we go. I was for sure going to probably spell that wrong. Alright, so disciples. Correct? Yes. Disciples of Darkness. And we'll go number 1, which will be, I guess, Mutant and Sinner. I guess that can be the first iteration of it. So we'll add them together. Let me copy this as well, just so I don't have to retype it in. There we go. Add another new team in there as well. We also have the Exploders, Giant Brody, Aldous Blackfriar from FCW, but I mean, that doesn't really matter too much. So Disciples of Darkness 2, which can be... Let's go Mutant and Zombie Boy. So we'll add that team in there as well. Add Disciples of Darkness 3, which will be, I guess, Aldous and Mutant. And then I guess we'll go one more iteration of it as well. Let's go maybe Zombie Boy and... I guess Zombie Boy and Aldous as well. I feel like that kind of makes sense. So that'd be... That's IV, yeah, that's correct. Just trying to remember my Roman numerals. And that'll be Zombie Boy. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that looks pretty good. So two iterations there with, well, 3 iterations with I guess we could essentially go 5 and then have maybe Zombie Boy and Sinner together as well. Let's do that as well. While we're at it, we may as well. So that'd be B. And like I said, Zombie Boy will be first. And then we'll go Sinner. So that can, I guess that'll be the sort of jobber tag team out of the stable, even though technically there won't be a lot of jobbing to actually do. I know with 5 iterations, it's going to actually be hard to build up any type of real experience between any of the two teams, but I'm kind of expecting this one here. So number 1, and then obviously number 3. I mean, more than likely, they will probably get some decent level of yeah, some decent level of K-Team experience together. So they will take on, like I said, Mobstar and Papa Swole. So I guess we can make that storytelling as well. Then I think for the next show, I'm gonna have Zeus take on Logan for the main event. I think that's a better way of going about it. All right, in that case, let's go with a singles match. Let's go with Zeus taking on James Diaz. So we can essentially actually book this into a bit of a storyline between the two. So Diaz is going to get the victory, but it will be tainted, of course. And then we'll have a outside interference finish onto Zeus by Logan, essentially setting up the whole storyline as well. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. All right, next match, let's go with Logan's debut. So he's going to take on Doc Hammond, like I said. Just a 12-minute match, nothing too serious. Just a nice win straight out of the gates there for Logan. Of course, it is his literal return to the company. He is a former... No, he's not a former champion. He never won the belt. He never won the belt first time round. Let me double check that. Yeah, as you can see, he never won the belt. Very interesting. All right, so with that said, guess we need one more match, probably a tag team match. Maybe the champions. Let's go the Moneymakers, and I guess they can take on... I was going to go the Northern Lights again, but I don't think that's a good idea. Let's go red, white, and blue. All that should be good. We'll give Stevie P the victory there as well. And that's all decisive. All right. We'll kick the show off with Logan. And of course, we'll give him a promo to kick things off as well. Of course, his gimmick is the Glorious One. So I think we might sort of run with that, I guess, for sort of his return. Return of the Glorious One. Kind of a mouthful, to be honest, but anyway. Let's go angles. Let's go for a... Mobstar Papa Swole angle. We will script it. Never mind, we won't script it because of Papa Swole, which is frustrating because he was the one that actually messed up on that last show. We'll then go for a... Let's go for maybe Davis and Zeus together. The lads, the Golden Goats. I think they still are in the same storyline, aren't they? That'll go before that match. Let's have a Jackpot and Stevie P angle. I guess maybe they can actually cut it onto Brett and Taylor. I guess they can be off screen as well, not necessarily needing to be on screen. And that'll advance this storyline here as well. Pretty simple, pretty easy, but yeah, should be good. And then finally, we're just going to go with Logan. 8 minutes, unscripted. Welcome to the company. And I guess what we'll do, actually, we may as well essentially just add him straight into the storyline. Although, I kind of wonder if having him out of the storyline is potentially going to be better for the match. Because, of course, we've been getting the penalties. So, instead of getting 2 penalties, if they're not even in a storyline, they'll only get 1 penalty by the looks of things. So, I don't really know if it's a smart idea to put him in this storyline if I want this match to essentially be rated as highly as possible. So I think I'll leave it. I think I'll leave him out for now. But once he starts the new year, he'll probably be in a storyline with Diaz. Sort of like a... I mean, they are... Let me double check this. I'm pretty sure, obviously, it just says blood relative. Yeah, so he's the nephew of Raymond Diaz, and Raymond Diaz is, of course, James's father. So that would essentially make them cousins. Because obviously, Logan's father would be Raymond Diaz's brother. Correct. So it's his uncle, and of course, Diaz, it's his father. So there we go. They are indeed cousins. I thought they were cousins. I really did. But that looks like the show, to be honest. I mean, we can maybe fit in another angle, and I think I actually want to do that. Let's go with maybe a... Did I ever actually add the frat pack? No, I didn't. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Let's add the frat pack. I guess we'll literally call them the frat pack. So it'll be... I guess Jack will be the leader. Cooper. And then finally, of course, Zach Powerson in there as well. Actually, I guess Lucinda would be in there as well. Let me go Lucinda Lush. And then we'll make poor Zach last. I guess Lucinda would be support, wouldn't she? Alright, that looks pretty good. The frat pack. I like it. I like it. So what we'll do, we'll give a 7-minute angle to the frat pack. Obviously with Jack and Zach talking. I guess Lucinda can talk as well. And then Cooper will be by his lonesome with nothing to say. I'm not sure if they're all in the same storyline, but obviously we know some of them are in a storyline, some of them aren't. So obviously the push for Canada is the one that Cooper is a part of. So we'll chuck that in there as well. Not exactly too sure where I want it to go. Let's have it before... Let's have it right there. So it'll go the Golden Goats before their angle. Okay, I like that. Let's call it the formation of the frat pack. Let's do this. The official formation of the frat pack. All right, there we go. The official formation of the frat pack. They've been the frat pack for a couple of months now. All right, that looks pretty good. Where are we? I want to go to Mississauga, and we'll book a couple of pre-show matches as well. I guess let's go for a 6-man, and we'll actually have the frat pack in action. So Jack, Zach, and Cooper. they can take on Gary Walker, obvious reasons. And then we'll go with Pepper and Willie LaRue. We'll give the victory. Let's give it to Zach. Probably needs some more momentum for himself as well. There we go. One more pre-show. Go a cheeky tag, and we'll have Brody and Gorman taking on Sono. We'll have him take on Gilmore and John Greed. Yeah, good match. Keep it to 10. There's some old fellows in this match. Can be called as well. And decisive. All right, there we go. Looks pretty good. Let's run the show. All right, so we kick off the pre-show with a 61 rated match where we have the Frat Pack defeating Gary Walker, Pepper Pelton, and Willie LaRue in 12:03 when Zach Powerson pinned Pepper Pelton with a press power slam. Lots of P's in that sentence there. Obviously, Pepper being the weak link. Still only getting a 23. I'm pretty sure that's what he was getting when we first brought him into the company. So, poor Pepper hasn't really done anything. All right, we then move into our last pre-show match, getting a 71, where we have Angry Gilmore and John Greed defeating Giant Brody and Graham Gorman in 10:04 when Angry Gilmore pinned Graham Gorman with an anger management. Of course, they're still technically in a storyline together. I guess we'll do that match one last time. Because Gilmore will, I guess, move on to Matty Faith now that he's willing to put him over for the next 2 months. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting storyline as well. Okay, here we go. The moment you've all been waiting for, the debut of Logan Wolfsbane. Sorry, the re-debut of Logan Wolfsbane. Kicking things off with a 76 rated angle. Again, he's not the best on the mic. We know that. His talent is in the ring. Inside the squared circle for everyone to see. But he's not terrible. He's not terrible on the microphone. And as you can see, he debuts his Glorious One gimmick. Getting an initial rating of very good. Basically, he says that he's returned to the Coalition to wreak havoc, become the world champion, that he never won. He kind of clarifies that. He says he was never the champion, despite being arguably the most dominant wrestler in the company for the early years. And then he proceeds to say, you know, I treated the Coalition as a stepping stone. We moved on to bigger and better things. However, the Coalition has risen, and it is now on level terms with all the other big companies in North America. Essentially, throwing a bit of shade at TCW, SWF, US Pro, CWA. Basically saying that we're on the same level. Which you could argue, we're getting there. We're really getting there. We're on pay-per-view, medium coverage, both US and Canada, so... Oh, come on. That is a terrible con. A large penalty to psychology during matches. That is frustrating, man. That is seriously bad. Anyway. Okay. Debut match, or re-debut match. Getting an 82 rating here. Logan Wolfsbane defeating Doc Hammond in 12:01 by pinfall with a belly-to-belly suplex. What a match. Probably won't beat the main event. But that's a great match. As you can see, Logan and Doc, they have great chemistry, so that's obviously helped out the match itself quite a bit, I would assume. But a solid 88 in-ring performance from Logan. And he's also getting better at his gimmick, despite having that large penalty to psychology. Alright, we then go into an 84 rated angle here from the Moneymakers, our current Coalition Tag Team Champions. And of course, they're talking a bit of smack about the former champions, Young and Wasted, Brett and Taylor. But as you can see, both of them really, really showing some decent promo skills, especially without a script. I mean, obviously Jackpot's the standout, but yeah, Stevie P doing some good work in there as well. They then go into a bit of a warm-up match, getting a 73, where we do have the Moneymakers defeating Red, White, and Blue in 12-16 by... when Stephen Parker pinned Blue Dragon with a Make It Rain. And yeah, just a good match. 76 for Jackpot, 73 there for Stevie P. Pretty solid, 73 overall. Alright, we then go into a 53 rated angle. Again, it's a mid-card angle, so sort of what the expected rating would be. But we have the official formation of the Frat Pack. Of course, they've been an unofficial stable for, like I said, a few months now. And, you know, Jack Jackson is essentially brought everybody together, says once and for all, we're going to make it official. And we're going to start our rise to the top. You know, Cooper just recently lost the Canadian title. But Jack says not to worry about it. You know, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme. We can always win back titles. The future is bright for the Frat Pack. Alright, we then go into another angle, getting an 85 for this one. Basically just an angle for the Golden Goats. Davis is trying to hype Zeus up a bit, saying, you know, this is our time to try and get back to the top of the mountain here in the Coalition. And yeah, just trying to hype his mate up, his best friend, and tag team partner as well. Go into a 75 rated match here where we have James Diaz pulling off an upset, defeating Zeus Maximilian in 12-22 by pinfall with an Asian thumb spike, following interference from Logan Wolfsbane. That's an interesting one. Wouldn't really expect it too much. But again, the announcers put over the fact that Diaz and Wolfsbane, they are cousins. They are blood. They are family. And, yeah. We've got an easy match on the next card. We'll make it the main event. I was originally going to do Zeus taking on Logan. What I think we'll do is we'll go the Golden Goats taking on Diaz and Wolfsbane. Yeah, good stuff. 76 there from Diaz as well. All right, we go into an 80 rated angle. Very, very solid for Papa Swole. Very solid. Obviously, Mobstar carrying the angle, probably. But they both enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. That's obviously a pretty big positive. And, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as far as an angle goes. Their match is also, yeah, it's pretty good, considering Original Sin is in it. So we get a 71 for this tag team match. Mobstar and Papa Swole defeating Disciples of Darkness 1 in 12-20 when Papa Swole pinned Original Sinner with the pounce. Interesting finish there, but yeah, these two, they might have a match on the next card as well. We'll see how we go. But anyway, Mobstar shining during the match. Just another really good match, to be fair. All right, we then go into the pre-main event angle. Gets an 89, despite Goldstein actually struggling when going off script. And of course, he's cutting his promo about Aldous Blackfriar and the fact that, you know, Aldous didn't beat him clean in the tournament semi-final. He had to get help from his big man in Mutant. But basically, Goldstein says, you know, if you want to earn some respect around here, you got to beat me one-on-one. You got to beat me clean. Make it decisive. And truly sort of prove yourself to be the #1 contender. And the main event, actually a little bit of a letdown. A little bit of a letdown, not going to lie. We get a 79. But I kind of figured that it would do better. Because I believe they got an 82 at the pay-per-view. So, interesting. We have Aldous Blackfriar defeating Ozzy Goldstein in 1954 by pinfall with the Batwing. Yeah, I felt like this would get an 85. So, a little bit disheartened with it getting a 79. You know, below 80, I kind of say that at the moment, 80 is the sort of main event cutoff. Anything lower, I'm not too happy with. So we're 1 point below. I kind of feel like if it was well executed, it would have been higher because we had an 82 in-ring there from Goldstein and a 79 there from Aldous. So pretty high, pretty similar in-ring performances, but let's have a look. What were the penalties? All right, so there was literally one penalty, and it was the lack of an associated storyline. I mean, that's interesting. But there we go. I mean, sometimes you get penalties for, or double penalties for having a match in a storyline. That's not as good. And then you get penalties for having a lack of a storyline. Anyway, pretty strange, but we get an 82. So I think that's is that the same, or do we get an 81 for the last show? Can't remember, but another pretty solid 80 plus rated show there. Like I said, kind of just the main event letting it down a little bit. But it is what it is. We'll move on. I feel like this next main event will be really good. Like I said, the Golden Goats taking on Diaz and Wolfsbane. In theory, I would like to imagine it being a 90 rated match. But again, my match predictions have kind of been off recently, so we'll kind of wait and see how we do. Anyway, we've actually got more viewers for this show, 482,000, so up about 2,000 from the last one, so not too bad. Quick little look. Got US Pro. That's a decent main event. 94, El Leon defeating Jake Idol. And then we got CWA here with another 90 rated show. This time with the Mob defeating Thunder and Lightning for a 95 rated main event there. Fair play. Looked pretty good. I don't like to say that, but it definitely looked pretty good. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like anything actually went up there. I kind of have what we were at. Anyway, what we can do now is change up our announcers a little bit. So Vanderbroek will go there. We'll have Lee Bambino there. And then finally Grace there. As you can see, because we still have these two together in the booth, the lineup stays excellent experience, as opposed to, if you were to take, for example, take Lee out, they have no experience. So that's the reason why I'm keeping Lee. Not exactly necessary, but just kind of, I don't know. It's like a little bit of a gamey sort of hack that you can do. Not a hack, but just something that you can do to ease any type of pain that you would have changing announcers and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just get straight into the next show. Take another sip of water here. All right, I feel like it's been a pretty good episode so far. Of course, we've had the re-debut of Logan Wolfsbane. Pay rise request. Okay, damn. Stevie P wants 1,200. Well, I give everybody 75%. It's literally the only way not to upset them. Now, there was a comment about Masked Patriot in the last episode as well. Like I said, I would like to sign him. He's got 50 plus popularity. He's also got pretty good skills overall. He's got very good psychology, to be fair. And he does pass on knowledge. That was kind of something that was brought up. Maybe I should sign him. I know he's 36, but we could just get him on maybe a cheeky little 4-year contract. He'll probably start to decline. But he's got 88 psychology, which I feel like is pretty good. So let's sign him. He'll be in the mid-card for the rest of his career. But Masked Cougar 2 any good? He's got good star quality. I'll tell you what, I'm not against actually signing him either. I kind of just wish we had a developmental territory. Anyway, let's grab him. Let's go 4 years, no cover. Try and get as low as possible with the merchandise as well. Not that he's going to be selling too much merchandise anyway, but he's probably going to want 25%. Okay. All right, let's lower. I wonder if we can lower this. Let's go 1650. And then we'll go events and A shows. Okay, he still literally wants 17,400. All right, so there we go. I think we got the best offer there as well. Yeah, the only one he's seriously considering. Perfect. I feel like I'm only kind of signing him right now because of the comment from the last episode, but also because IPW went in for him. And I didn't exactly want to sign him right now. I wanted it to be an option for the future. But obviously that's kind of sped things up a little bit. So we'll get him in. Just going to do 3 days because IPW, they might throw in another offer. Probably not. They probably don't really have the money to be going in that hard. But I feel like Masked Patriot in that mid card, you're taking on guys like Jack Jackson, Gary Walker, Cooper Christie, even Zach Powerson potentially. You know, there is some decent matchups for him there as well. Could also use Diaz in a little storyline with him to try and just elevate Diaz that little bit more, which is essentially what we're trying to do now with Diaz teaming up with Wolfsbane to essentially take on the Golden Goats and that big victory, even though it was tainted against Zeusy Boy. So I have to say, I feel like Diaz is gone from being that really talented youngster to actually being, you know, a proper member of our roster. Like he's probably not that far off. Maybe another title shot. He was champion if you remember correctly. Probably about 20 episodes ago, but he's a former world champion, and I think he won it at like 20 years old, something like that. So the pedigree is there, and I'm sure he'll want to become a 2-time champion as well. I wouldn't mind signing this Russian tag team here. I know they're not very good based on his stats there, but I would like to get maybe another tag team or two. And I feel like everything, as far as singles workers go, I think we're good. I say that as Kip Keenan's now available, but man, he's so good. He really is good. I don't know. How much? I mean, it's not terrible. He's got 60 popularity as well. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. Anyway, what else have we got? Ernest injured. We got Sammy the Shark. Sammy Smoke. He's pretty average. Won't worry about him. We've got the rival bid update as well here. So they've actually gone in pretty hard. They're up to 24,000. Plus a 10% bonus. Okay. I mean, they're playing hardball. They think they have what it takes. And yeah, we'll give him, I guess, 10% as well. I mean, do I really want to? No, let's just see. I mean, if he doesn't come, he doesn't come. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not gonna Not for him. I'm not gonna blow the budget for him. Yeah, it's just not worth it. All right, so our third and final show of the episode. Let's go to Hamilton for this one, and then let's book this main event. It's going to be pretty cool. So we'll get the Golden Goats in there. And then we'll get Logan and Diaz. And we'll give it 20. Should be good enough. Monson, the road agent. And I think what we'll do, we'll have Davis win, Diaz lose. And I feel like that's a pretty good way of going about it. I mean, I feel like Davis does essentially have to win. Don't really think it's too necessary for me to keep Logan strong. Yeah, I think it should be fine. All right. There's our main event. I think we might go for a Logan and a James Diaz angle in the pre-main event section. Should be good as well. And let's book the rest of the show. So I think I want to have Brody maybe getting a victory over Stephen Parker. But again, more outside interference. Kind of feeling like the WWE a little bit here. But it's going to be interference by, I guess, Taylor Norton maybe. So another tainted victory and another match finishing from outside interference. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. Let's continue on. So go another tag team match. I think we'll go for Los Hermanos 3 to take on let's go decisive. They had a win, didn't they? Let me maybe go with let's go with those two. So Disciples of Darkness 5 will be in this one. And we'll give the win to Zombie Boy. I think we'll have to call the match as well. Because of course got Mr. Oh, is he not Scatterbrain anymore? Oh no, he's still Scatterbrain. Okay, never mind. We'll continue anyway. I don't really care about the penalties there. I feel like it's a bigger penalty for the Scatterbrain stuff, so we shall let that play out. Up next, let's go for, I guess, Princeton Price and maybe Maddie Faith. I mean, we could nearly go, let's go 20 minutes on this one. I mean, I want to give it some decent time. It's going to be tainted. It's going to be a cheating victory, obviously, by Maddie Faith. And I think that'll be pretty good. Should be good as well. And then we'll go one final match. Trying to think of who we actually want to put in the match. Go Jack Jackson. And he can take on Yuta Usono. Or actually, no, let's have him take on Gary Walker. So he's got 50. And Jack has 43. Okay, let's do that. So Gary Walker, Jack Jackson. 12 minutes in there. Gary Walker's going to get the win. I guess it will be decisive. No real need for it not to be. And it will be non-title, of course, but it'll it'll make more sense. Of course, Gary Walker will be taking on Cooper Christie at the pay-per-view for a rematch of his title. As far as the rest of the show goes, I want to give Brody an angle. Just don't think he's good enough. Maybe we'll just go Menace. I don't really like doing Menace angles anymore. It was kind of a big part of TEW 2016, but they're almost kind of worthless in 2020. Let's also go for a full Disciples of Darkness angle in here as well. So Mutant, Zombie Boy, and Sinner. Of course, the only person talking is going to be Aldous Blackfriar, but give them all a little bit of success in there as well. And we'll push the angle or advance the Rebirth. That'll go there. We'll then go for a Princeton Price angle onto Maddie Faith prior to their match. Yeah, both on screen. That's fine. And then I guess just go Jack Jackson maybe. Actually, we'll go Gary Walker. Gary hasn't really had too much to do. And I guess we'll just put Cooper off screen. I think that's pretty good. Alrighty, so we just need a storytelling. It'll be this match. And there we go. All right. Do a couple of pre-shows. Let's have Angry Gilmore and maybe Aldous to take on Zach. Actually, let's have them take on Young and Wasted. Just so we can try and go 20. Oh, no, we can't. Let's go. We'll try and go 16. And actually, we'll go 12. I changed my mind about 3 times in the space of about 5 seconds there, but let's have Aldous get the win. Kind of needs as much momentum as possible. It's just the pre-show, and more it's just to try and get some psychology rub off onto Young and Wasted. They are up 1 point for this month. Well, at least Brett is. Taylor, not yet, but hopefully after this match. And chuck that to Monton. Probably Stones. Yes, okay. And then our second match on the pre-show. Let's go for Hocking, Goldstein, and Howison. Now let's go Chip Martin. How good is Chip? I feel like Chip is actually pretty good. You know what? He's actually not dreadful. And as you can see with the mentor protege that he actually has increased quite a bit despite never being used in his psychology. So I feel like I should use him more. Let's chuck him onto the team. Why not? He does have the I mean, we should probably put him with Doc Hammond. Maybe give them like a run at the titles next. Could be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go with someone else. I'll just go with Zach, I guess. Just to give Zach something else, and then they can take on the Rock City Stars and Charlie Corner for 12 minutes on the pre-show. And we'll give the victory to Hocking. And of course, it does need to be scripted. Just need more psychology onto Zach, and we'll start pushing him and make him our figurehead. It's gonna take a little while though. All right, that looks good. Let's run the final show of the episode. Kicking things off with a 70 rated pre-show match where we have Matt Hocking, Ozzy Goldstein, and Zach Powerson defeating Faith No More in 11:45 when Matt Hocking in Stan Manor with a Hock Shock. Obviously, Goldstein head and shoulders above everybody else. Zach the weak link, and he was also off his game. Unfortunate. A lower 40 now as well. Not great. And then our second pre-show match and final one of the episode, we get a 73 rated tag team match. Where we have Angry Gilmore and Aldous Blackfriar defeating Young and Wasted in 12-13. And Aldous Blackfriar pinned Brett Kyle with a Batwing. Yeah, just a pretty good match overall, to be honest. Unfortunately, Angry Gilmore was really off his game, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad. We got a 72 for Brett Kyle there as well. Very solid. Just having a quick look at the penalties. We got inconsistency for Gilmore, obviously being off his game. Inconsistency for Blackfriar and for Norton. No inconsistency there from Brett Kyle. Hence why he probably got a much higher in-ring performance than he normally would have, maybe. Anyway, we kick the show off with a 70 rated angle from Gary Walker. And of course, he's cutting his promo onto the former Canadian champion, Cooper Christie, saying that he's going to be unsuccessful. The guy can't even cut his own promos. He can't talk. He has a woman who is talking for him, of course, alluding to Lucinda Lush. And yeah, basically says that Cooper is likely never to hold another title in the company. Kind of big words from a first-time champion in the company as well. Well, technically, first-time singles champion. They did, him and Zippy did hold the tag belts for about less than a month, I think. Anyway, that's a really good mid-card match. We get a 70 rated match here for Gary Walker defeating Jack Jackson in 11:46 by pinfall with a pants pull sunset flip. Jack only getting a 55 in-ring and Gary getting a 66. So, very solid. Much higher than the in-ring, so I'm pleasantly surprised. We then go into an 80 rated Princeton Price angle. And of course, he now has his finishes. So, hopefully with his victory in the match up next, we'll actually get to see that in action. He actually had a finisher in the database. In the editor, sorry. But it wasn't a finisher, it was just an impact move. So I thought that was pretty strange. So I changed that to an actual finisher, and then we added the other one as well from the suggestion 2 episodes ago. But yeah, as you can see, Princeton did a masterful job improvising interactions with the crowd. He's actually doing a lot better. I said I was kind of underwhelmed a little bit by him, but he's gotten up there. That tournament last episode really helped him. All right, we go into a 71 rated match where we have Matty Faith. Oh, he lost. Matty Faith defeating Princeton Price in 20 minutes, 23 seconds by pinfall with a leap of faith after... Did I add that? I don't think I added that. That was the game, because obviously we did a tainted victory. But yeah, he defeated him by pinfall with a leap of faith after Charlie Corner interfered. And of course, Charlie Corner is his manager. Interesting, the game defaulted with my tainted victory road agent note. So, pretty cool. 71 for that match. Yeah, it's about what is sort of expected. Maybe a little bit on the low side, but I feel like everything's kind of being penalized. Matty Faith was penalized for chemistry. Overwhelmed by manager. Interesting. I thought Charlie Corner was doing like good work at ringside recently. I don't know, I guess that's changed. Anyway, moving on to an 84 rated angle here from Forces of Darkness. Of course, Aldous is the mouthpiece. He is the leader. Unfortunately, didn't do well without a script, but we still got an 84. So it's still pretty good. Pretty good. Basically, he just says, again, it's time for the darkness to take over the coalition. Similar, just, creepy, sort of eerie, very, the lights go out, they come back on. Still dimmed lights, but forces of darkness are all there. Scary stuff, spooky stuff. Of course, we're only, 9 days away from, 10 days away from Halloween. Pretty cool. All right, we then go into a 56 rated match where we have Disciples of Darkness 5, of course, Zombie Boy and Original Sinner, defeating Los Hermanos 3, of course, Cavalero and Gonzalez, in 12:28 when Zombie Boy into Marco with a flying double stomp. And unfortunately, both members of Los Hermanos seemed off their game. Not great for them. They've fallen kind of into a bit of a pit of darkness themselves, really. They've been overlooked. They're former tag team champions, these two, and even Gonzalez is a former Canadian champion. I think he was the first Canadian champion, wasn't he? I think he was, and then Zombie Boy beat him for it. Pretty sure that's correct. Anyway, we move on to a 63 rated Menace angle from Giant Brody, of course, getting himself, hyped up, getting ready for his match. Of course, he's taking on one member of Wall Street Enterprises, and he will be taking on John Greed at the pay-per-view to settle their storyline once and for all. Pretty good match. We get a 73 rated contest here for this singles match. Giant Brody defeating Stephen Parker in 12:10 by pinfall with a single-handed chokeslam, following interference from Taylor Norton. And of course, Taylor's, they're looking to get their rematch back, young and wasted. They want their coalition tag team titles back. And of course, the Moneymakers did win that in that triple threat ladder match in the last episode. Very similar in-ring performances, so this was pretty well booked. Got a 63 there for Giant Brody and a 64 for Stevie P. All right, we then go into that's unfortunate. We get a 76, which is actually, it's still pretty good considering. But both Logan and James Diaz both were poor without a script to follow. So, if we scripted them, would have been a lot better. But the angle's not what we're worried about. I'm not worried. I'm hoping for a good match. I'm hoping for a really good match going into this. And the main event, I feel like the match ratings with these recent updates have changed. Because in my head, I kind of feel like this match would probably be a 90 if we go back, a few different versions of the game updates. When we got that 95, this match would easily get a 90, in my opinion. It just seems a lot harder right now to get decent ratings for these matches. I don't know why. It seems a little bit strange. Anyway, we have the Golden Goats defeating Logan Wolfsbane and James Diaz in 2015 when Davis submitted James Diaz with an STF. And then we have Davis, the GOAT himself, head and shoulders above everybody else in this match, which is crazy considering Logan is involved. There we go. Storyline gains heat. And we've got the excellent chemistry for the Golden Goats. What are the penalties? Look at the dirt sheet. Again, same thing. I feel like I'm going to turn off the storyline penalties. I feel like I have to. It's a double penalty for all of these really good matches. They should not be penalized twice. It literally does not make sense. This match should have been a 90. If it wasn't being penalized for both these, I feel like it would have got close to it at least, like an 88. Because we have these penalties for inconsistency, so there's already grades taken off. We got declining physical ability in there as well for Zeus. Then we have double penalties at the end. Same thing that's been happening pretty much every pay-per-view as well. I don't understand. It's just, I've got to turn it off. Anyway, finish the show. We get an 80 rated overall show rating. It's okay. It's nothing terrible. But it's also not impressive. Of course, we had over 80s for the first two in this episode. So that was a bit of a letdown. It's still good. It's still a really good show. But just not as good as it probably could have been. I probably could have given maybe another promo to Davis and Zeus. Might have brought it back up a little bit. Of course, our angles do play a pretty important role on the show. All right, we've got Original Sinner. He's finally going to get off $20 per appearance, despite being on it for like the last 3 years, I guess. We'll give him an extra $52 per week, and he's now on $72 per week as well. And yeah, we've still got this offer here with Masked Patriot, and we'll kind of see how that goes. Ooh, Primus Allen. Well, well, well. I'm a big Primus Allen fan. Really not that much either. Over 60, well, he's got 64 popularity there as well. I think we've got to go in. We've got to go in for him. Have a bit of a bidding war with SWF. I'm assuming some other companies will probably come in as well. But once again, 480,000, which is the same as the first show of this episode. I mean, part of me thinks that I should just scrap Masked Patriot and just go purely for Primus. Let's go 6 years. I mean, we're literally going to have to match the offer to an extent. Probably even go higher, to be fair. So, well, there we go. We'll put this one in, see what happens. He wants 34,300. He already has declining physical abilities? Hold on. I mean, is anything declining? And I don't feel like anything's actually declining. Just want to double check. Do I actually want him? I kind of do really want him, to be honest. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. All right, so 6 years. Maybe I'll go 5 years. I'll go 5 years. And then it was what, 34. Actually, it might be cheaper. I wonder if. Yeah, let's just try 33,000 again. Leave that off. 20%. All right, so 33,700. But let me go events and A shows. Still the same. Okay. All right, so it's going to be one of two offers. That'll probably have to continue into next episode, but we won't worry about that for now. Good to kind of see that we've got at least got a chance of signing him. Once again, CWA, they got a 91 for this show and a solid 96 rated main event there. Pretty crazy, but it is what it is. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at a few things. Of course, there's a hour and 40 5-minute episode so far. But Aldous Blackfriar looks like he's gone up 1 point at least. Yeah, so he's gone up to 81 pop. Pretty good going into the pay-per-view. Let's have a look at... Where is he? Diaz might have gained 1 as well. Yeah, he's gained 1 point up to 66 there, which is good to see as well. Logan probably hasn't gained anything. Yeah, still 78. Actually, he's gone up in a couple of regions, actually. Hold on. No, he hasn't. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, Faith, 62, but I think he was already at... No, he's gained 2 points. Wow. Okay. Did Princeton lose anything then? Yes, he lost 1 point. Okay, that's not a terrible trade-off. Princeton loses 1. Matty Faith gains 2. Going into his big pay-per-view match as well. Zeus... I think Zeus was already 69. Yeah. So he's the same. Who else? Let's check Mobstar. 86 popularity. So he's up 1 point as well. That's really good. Really good. And then we'll check the GOAT as well, who's at 85, which is exactly the same at the start of the month. Really need to try and get him back up to 87, which I believe was his sort of popularity cap. So if we can get him back to there, that'd be pretty sweet. Just to get the best out of him, essentially. Shouldn't be too hard with his match against Logan. But he might be losing that match. It's very possible. We could go back-to-back losses, 3 in a row for the GOAT. Would be a pretty bad way to finish off his 2023. But like he said in that sit-down interview, 2024 is going to make it his year. And interesting, we've actually gone above 10 million for the first time in the series, so that's pretty cool as well. I mean, obviously, we're going to lose a bit of money from that as well once the expenses of the month have sorted themselves out, but everything is looking pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit of investigating about the broadcaster, own broadcaster. Suss it out. I would assume we would probably go for a big size, at least in Canada. We don't really need to focus on the US right now, because in order to go up to big size, which is the size up from medium, we just need the 77 popularity in the Canadian regions. Going from big to large is, of course, the where you need to branch out into other regions around the world in order to get up to that size. Once you've already reached big, though. So big is our next goal. And I would feel like a big size broadcaster in regards to our coverage would be pretty decent. It's only going to be 5.275 mil. So it's essentially half the money we have. And as you can see, absolutely nothing per month. That's the best part about it. And of course, we keep our pay-per-view deals as well. We can literally show the TV shows on our network and the pay-per-views or the events on our network as well. Zero conflict with the other broadcasters, even in the same region. So it works out really well. I think that's going to be the strategy. And I'm really looking forward to moving forward with this series. I know you guys love the series. If you could, or if you haven't already, drop a like, smash a like on the video. Greatly appreciate it. Kind of helps it out a little bit with the algorithm, apparently. I don't think it does, but potentially it does. I think it's more to do with like watch time and stuff like that help the videos out. So if I know a lot of you guys probably do watch right to the end to get the full scope of what is actually happening. And yeah, I'm assuming most of you are probably subscribed by now, but if you haven't, make sure you do that. Turn the notification bell on. And apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy and goodbye.